Here's a secret most people won't tell you. The women who seem effortlessly elegant, they're not born with it. They've simply mastered the art of subtraction. They know that elegance is never about adding more. It's about knowing when to say no. No to clothes that scream for attention. No to trends that don't align with who they are. And no to anything that costs them their comfort, confidence, or self-respect. And what's more surprising, you probably already own pieces that are sabotaging your image without you realizing it. One small mistake, a fabric choice, a shoe, even a nail color, can shift how others perceive you in seconds. But the good news is, once you know what to avoid, everything changes. You gain control over your image, your presence, and how you make people feel without saying a single word. So in this video, I'm not just going to show you what to stop wearing. I'm going to show you how to replace those mistakes with choices that speak volumes, quietly. Ready? 1. When your clothes are too tight, they're saying things you don't want them to say. You've probably seen it. A woman walks into the room in a dress so tight, it looks like she can barely breathe. At first glance, people notice. But a few seconds later, they start to wonder, is she uncomfortable? Is she trying too hard? Here's the uncomfortable truth. When your outfit looks like it's squeezing you, it doesn't matter how expensive it is. It won't read as confident or high class. It reads as insecure. And it sends the message that you're chasing attention, not commanding it. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I attended a charity dinner in Los Angeles. It was one of those glamorous rooftop events where everyone looked like they walked off a magazine cover. I had just bought this gorgeous designer dress, tight, strapless, very look at me. I thought it was perfect. But the moment I sat down, the zipper dug into my back. I couldn't eat more than 2 bites without feeling like the dress was winning. Every time I stood up, I had to pull it down. Every conversation I had, I was only half present because the other half of me was busy adjusting myself. When I got home and looked at the photos, something hit me. I didn't look powerful. I looked tense. That dress wasn't helping me own the room. It was distracting me from even being in the room. So what's the fix? It's not about hiding your body. It's about choosing clothes that skim, not squeeze. That highlight your shape without apologizing for comfort. Think of tailored trousers that move when you walk. A dress that follows your silhouette but lets you breathe deeply. Elegance lives in that balance, where your outfit supports your confidence instead of competing with it. Because here's the thing, truly elegant women never look like they're trying. They don't need to. Their presence speaks louder than any dress ever could. 2. The high heel paradox, when beauty becomes a burden. High heels are iconic. They've been symbols of power, sensuality, and sophistication for decades. But there's a fine line between heels that elevate your confidence and ones that undermine it completely. We've all been there. You find the perfect pair, sleek, sculpted, maybe even a little dangerous. You imagine yourself walking into a room, all eyes on you, and then reality hits. You're wobbling across a parking lot, clutching onto the nearest arm, praying you don't roll your ankle before you even make it to the front door. Let me share something personal. A few years back, I was invited to speak at a leadership event in New York. I had prepared for weeks. I knew my content inside out, and I wore these stunning black heels, 4 inches, pointed toe, Italian leather. They looked incredible. But halfway through the night, I couldn't focus on a single conversation. My feet were throbbing, my posture was slipping, and the confidence I thought I'd walked in with was slowly fading with every step. I even cut my keynote short, not because I was nervous, but because I simply couldn't stand any longer. And here's what I realized. Elegance should never look painful. The most powerful woman in the room doesn't need to suffer to be seen. That doesn't mean giving up heels altogether. It means choosing wisely. A modest heel, somewhere between 2 and 3 inches, can give you posture, presence, and polish without the agony. Block heels, slingbacks, or kitten heels can still make a strong statement. without making your feet the enemy. The science backs it up too. Shoes that respect your natural foot structure help you move with more ease, and people instinctively read that as confidence and control. And isn't that the whole point? Because here's the paradox. Towering stilettos might catch the eye, but if they're costing you your comfort, your focus, or your grace, is the attention really worth it? True elegance isn't about how high you can go. It's about how grounded you are, how effortlessly you move through a room without missing a step. 3. When subtle neglect ruins the whole look, the silent sabotage of poorly maintained clothing. We often think elegance is about what we wear, but just as important, maybe more important, is how well we care for what we wear. Even the most luxurious outfit can fall flat if it looks neglected. Wrinkled fabric, pilled sweaters, lint, loose threads, these tiny details speak louder than most people realize. Imagine this. A few winters ago, I had coffee with a client at an upscale cafe. She walked in wearing a gorgeous wool coat, camel color, beautifully structured, clearly expensive. But as she sat down, I noticed something. The fabric around the sleeves was fraying. There were specks of lint, and a thread was hanging near the hem. Now, did it ruin her day? Of course not. But the impression shifted. What could have been polished and powerful started to feel just a little unfinished. The kind of thing that lingers in the background of someone's perception. Subtle, but real. I've made this mistake too. Once I gave a presentation in a silk blouse I hadn't ironed properly. The lighting in the room made every crease visible. And instead of focusing on what I was saying, I kept thinking about how I looked. The distraction was enough to throw me off my rhythm. And worst of all, I knew better. Here's the truth. People notice care. A wrinkle-free shirt, a crisp collar, a sweater that looks freshly brushed. These things speak volumes about how you carry yourself, even before you say a word. And no, this doesn't mean you need to dry clean everything or spend hours steaming your closet. But a few intentional habits go a long way. Invest in a handheld steamer. Keep a lint roller in your car or bag. Learn which fabrics wrinkle easily and which ones hold their shape. Because elegance is not about perfection, it's about presence. And presence is built through awareness, intention, and quiet discipline. When you care for your clothes, you're telling the world, I care about how I show up. And that's a kind of elegance no trend can imitate. 4. The paradox of shine. When too much sparkle works against you. There's something about shine that draws the eye. Whether it's jewelry, sequins, or metallic fabrics, our brains are wired to respond to sparkle. But here's the paradox. The very thing that catches attention can also dilute your presence when it's overdone. I'll never forget one holiday party a few years ago. A woman walked in wearing a dazzling sequined dress, silver from neck to toe, paired with chandelier earrings and a glittery clutch. People did notice her. How could they not? But instead of thinking, wow, she looks elegant, everyone whispered the same thing. It's a lot. That night, no one remembered her name, her story, or who she came with. They just remembered the dress, and that's the problem. The shine outshined her. There's a science behind this. Studies in visual cognition show that the human brain can only focus on a limited number of visual stimuli at once. When too many elements are competing, sparkling earrings, bold necklaces, metallic fabrics, our attention scatters. Instead of one strong impression, we're left with noise. The lesson. Elegance isn't about turning down the light. It's about controlling where the light lands. So instead of layering shine on shine, choose one focal point. Maybe it's a soft satin blouse with delicate earrings, or a simple black dress with a bold cuff bracelet. Let that one element be the exclamation point, and let everything else be the quiet sentence that leads up to it. Here's what I've learned. The most powerful kind of sparkle is the kind that doesn't beg for attention. It just gets it. Quiet confidence paired with a single thoughtful detail leaves a far deeper impression than a full-body glitter bomb ever could, because true elegance is like candlelight. It glows, it warms, and it lingers, not because it shouts, but because it knows exactly how to whisper. 5. When the brand speaks louder than you, the quiet danger of logo overload. We live in a world obsessed with labels. Luxury logos are everywhere, on bags, belts, shoes, even sunglasses. And while there's nothing wrong with investing in high-end pieces, here's the truth. When your outfit is covered in logos, people stop seeing you. I remember this woman I saw at a brunch in Beverly Hills. She had the full lineup: Louis Vuitton bag, Gucci belt, Balenciaga shirt, Dior sneakers. Each piece was stunning on its own, but together it felt like she was wearing a resume of brands, not an outfit. The irony? No one was talking about how stylish she looked. They were trying to guess how much her outfit cost. That's not elegance. That's distraction. I'll be honest, I fell into that trap once too. There was a time I thought wearing multiple designer pieces would make me look accomplished, but the more logos I stacked on, the less seen I felt. Instead of feeling powerful, I felt like I was constantly proving something. Here's the shift. High-class women use branding strategically: a scarf with a subtle monogram, a handbag with discreet stitching that only a few will recognize. The goal isn't to flaunt status, it's to express identity, quietly, confidently. And here's the twist. Studies show that items with less visible branding are actually perceived as more exclusive. Why? Because elegance is never loud. It's layered, intentional, and deeply personal. So ask yourself, are your clothes highlighting your taste or replacing it with someone else's? Because when the brand starts speaking louder than you do, it might be time to change the conversation. 6. The deceptive shine of synthetic fabrics. When your clothes say more about cost than class. Not all shine is created equal. Some fabrics whisper sophistication. Others scream fast fashion before you even open your mouth. And the difference? You can feel it, and you can definitely see it. I'll never forget this one evening gala in San Francisco. I was wearing a soft ivory silk blouse, lightweight, natural shine, barely any makeup. Next to me was a woman in a rose gold satin dress that caught every beam of light in the room. On paper, her outfit should have been the showstopper, but in real life, under the lights, it looked plasticky, harsh, almost costume-like. And here's the hard truth. Low-quality synthetic fabrics reflect light in a way that instantly reveals their price tag. That overly slick, shiny look, it doesn't read as luxury. It reads as trying too hard on a tight budget. But I don't blame anyone for choosing them. These fabrics often look stunning online or on the hanger. They promise glamour. They photograph well, and they're cheap. It's tempting. I know because I've been there. I once bought a stunning emerald green dress for a friend's wedding. In the dressing room, it looked rich, elegant. I felt amazing. But when I saw the pictures afterward, my heart sank. The fabric clung in all the wrong places. The shine was harsh. Instead of graceful, I looked synthetic. It taught me something important. Fabric speaks before you do. People may not know fashion terms, but they feel quality. A well-draped silk blouse? It moves with you. It glows gently, not aggressively. A textured cotton dress? It looks lived in, not disposable. So what's the elegant choice? You don't have to spend a fortune, but invest in fabrics that age well, that breathe, that speak of care. Think silk, high-quality linen, fine wool blends, matte crepe. Even blends of viscose or rayon can feel luxurious if chosen well. And if you do wear something shiny, make sure it's intentional. One item, balanced with texture, and always check it under natural light before you step out. Because the goal isn't just to shine. The goal is to glow quietly. like someone who doesn't need her clothes to speak louder than she does. 7. When makeup hides instead of highlights, how too much makeup can cloud your natural elegance. There's a moment that still sticks with me, even years later. I was getting ready for a dinner party, an important one, full of polished, successful women. I spent nearly an hour doing my makeup. Full contour, winged eyeliner, false lashes, bold lips. I remember looking at myself in the mirror and thinking, now I look powerful. But when I got there, something felt off. The lighting was soft, the tone of the evening was relaxed, and I looked like I was trying too hard. The other women had effortless, glowing skin, light makeup, barely there lips, and there I was, looking like I'd stepped off a beauty tutorial. The worst part? No one really connected with me that night. I felt like I had hidden myself behind all the makeup. That's when it hit me. I didn't feel confident. I felt protected. And when we use makeup as a shield, it starts to work against us. Makeup, at its best, is supposed to reveal your beauty, not replace it. But somewhere along the way, we bought into the idea that more product means more power, that perfection means respect, that flawlessness means control. The truth? That heavy foundation, overly sculpted cheekbones, or intense lashes often distract more than they impress. Science agrees. According to research from the American Academy of Dermatology, women who wear lighter, more natural makeup are seen as more approachable, authentic, and trustworthy. There's something human, even magnetic, about letting your real features breathe. And it doesn't mean giving up makeup. It means shifting your intention. Ask yourself, am I wearing this to look like someone else, or to look like the best version of me? Now, I live by what I call the second glance rule. Your makeup should make people do a second glance, not because it's bold or flashy, but because you look fresh, glowing, and alive. Subtle is powerful. Controlled softness is disarming. Here's what works for me now. A sheer foundation or tinted moisturizer, cream blush to mimic a natural flush, a swipe of mascara, brushed brows, lipstick in a tone that looks like your lips but better. The result? People don't say, your makeup looks great. They say, you look amazing. And that's the difference. Because real elegance isn't about the mask. It's about letting people see you, clear, confident, and beautifully human. 8. When your nails steal the spotlight, for all the wrong reasons, what your hands are really saying about you. Your hands say more about you than you think. They gesture when you speak. They rest gently on your coffee cup. They're often the first thing someone sees when you reach out for a handshake, hold a wine glass, or pass someone a card. And yet, so many women overlook them, or worse, overdo them. I once attended a women's leadership retreat in Arizona. The energy in the room was incredible. Women from different industries, all confident, all powerful. But I remember one woman for a surprising reason, not for her ideas, not for her insight, but for her nails. They were long. Not just salon long, but can't type on your phone long. Neon pink with rhinestones and tiny gold charms on each finger. It was like her hands were yelling while the rest of her tried to speak softly. The sad part? She was smart, articulate, but every time she moved her hands, they pulled attention away from her face, her words, even her presence. And it reminded me of something I learned the hard way. Years ago, I used to treat my nails like mini billboards. Bold colors, patterns, even little crystals. I thought they were fun, expressive, feminine. But eventually, I realized they weren't matching the woman I was becoming. They didn't reflect my calm, my focus, my clarity. And more importantly, they didn't feel elegant. They felt like a costume. So I made a change. I traded flashy for refined. I cut the length, softened the shape, chose timeless shades, taupe, blush pink, deep burgundy. My hands didn't stand out anymore, and that's exactly why they started to feel like a part of me, not a performance. Here's the truth. Well-groomed, understated nails are one of the subtlest signs of self-respect. They say, "I take care of myself," without having to shout it. You don't need neon to be seen. You don't need sparkle to be memorable. You just need intention. So next time you're at the salon, pause before choosing the most eye-catching color on the shelf. Ask yourself, does this nail reflect the woman I am, or just the trend I'm trying to follow? Because elegance doesn't fight for attention. It quietly earns respect, right down to your fingertips. Elegance is not about trends. It's not about having the perfect wardrobe, the most flawless makeup, or a label stitched into your collar. It's not even about what others think when you walk into the room. Elegance is about what you feel when you walk past the mirror. It's about knowing that you're not dressing to impress. You're dressing to express, to honor the woman you've become, because you've lived enough life to know that chasing attention is exhausting, that wearing discomfort just to meet someone else's expectations leaves you empty. But when you choose intention over impulse, grace over flash, presence over performance, something shifts. You stop blending in. You start resonating. Every thoughtful choice, whether it's a wrinkle-free blouse, a polished nude nail, or simply saying no to an outfit that doesn't feel like you, is a quiet act of self-respect. And that kind of elegance, it doesn't fade. It grows with you. It strengthens with time. It turns into your signature. So wherever you are on your journey, just beginning, coming back to yourself, or redefining what elegance means in this chapter of your life, know this. You don't have to change who you are to be elegant. You just have to return to who you've always been underneath the noise. And that woman, she doesn't need to be loud to be unforgettable.